contract and everything that comes with it will be on my mind, all right? In the meantime, don't miss me too much, Jay. As soon as the Mustang turned the block's corner, Sarge faced the house and let his grinning smoke screen drop. One good thing about being back in Hook, New Jersey? No one found it unusual if you looked miserable. Hell, the town's unofficial motto was, "No one escapes the Hook. Might as well give up now." That sentiment had never felt truer than it did as he stared at the two-story colonial. At 18, he'd blown out of the godforsaken factory town, not caring if he ever returned. A broken heart and wounded pride could make a man do crazy things. Even now, the woman responsible could be inside with his sister, drinking wine after a long day of work at their assembly line jobs. She might be discussing her latest love interest, the way she'd done countless times while he listened from the next room. So many times. The hearing, the knowing, hadn't even been the worst part, though. Oh no. That had come when he finally entered the room and she ruffled his hair, completely unaware of the jealousy storming inside him like a hurricane bent on destruction. Without a clue that he thought about her every minute of the day, even when she wasn't babysitting him. Jasmine Taveras, his lifelong obsession and curse. Did he want her to be inside? Hell yeah, because 4 years away should have gotten Jasmine out of his system. That's what he'd intended when he'd bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles after graduating from Hook High. Forgetting her. Now, however, when faced with the prospect of meeting her face-to-face, the traitorous organ within his ribcage had already found a rapid baseline, which increased in pace the more he allowed her image to surface. Jesus H. Christ. As a teenager, whenever she was breathing in his vicinity, every fiber of his biology would stretch, begging to wrap around her and harden into cement so she could never escape. He'd been too young to cope with those rushes of hormones then, but that damn sure shouldn't be the case now. But it was. She was the reason he'd picked up a guitar freshman year of high school, wanting to be the background to that voice, wanting to support it, enhance it, be a part of it any way he could. Not that he'd ever told anyone. When asked by journalists, talk show hosts, or online music blogs, his answer was always the same patented mistruth. It seemed like an easy way to get girls. If he closed his eyes, he could see the way her lips had curled on each end the first time he'd played a string of notes on his busted Gibson. He'd played every day since, never failing to see her mouth during that first strum. Enough. With a curse, Sarge snatched up his guitar case in one hand, the amp in the other, and climbed the creaking wooden stairs leading to his childhood home. His parents had transferred the deed to his sister before retiring and moving to Florida, knowing she could use the space for raising her now 3-year-old daughter. The niece Sarge had never met in person, thanks to a demanding tour schedule. Damn. Starting now, he had a shit ton of making up to do, didn't he? With a bracing breath, Sarge lifted his fist to knock on the door, but it swung open before he got the chance. The guitar case slipped from Sarge's fingers, landing with a thud on the hollow porch. River? Across the threshold, someone who resembled his sister gazed back at him, looking baffled. Baffled and exhausted, to be more accurate. And no, it was his sister. But she'd stopped dyeing her hair blonde, bringing it back to woodsy brown, along with lopping off the long, bouncy ponytail that had always been her trademark. He could count on one hand the times he'd seen River without makeup since she'd hit middle school, but she didn't have an ounce of it on now. Even worse, her eyes were puffy, as if she'd been crying. Guilt smacked Sarge in the face like a metal mallet. This wasn't a bad day she was dealing with. This was more. And he'd been completely absent. 4 years' worth of absent. Riv, he prompted. Hey, you all right? A sharp, pained laugh stumbled past her lips. Yeah, I just...